And the hot chick looked upon the regal alchemist with a full sack, who ignores reality and ignores his negative thoughts, and she felt ecstasy. Women are way more in tune with their spiritual nature than most men, generally speaking, who are the gooners and the depleted coomers. They're the ones that don't really understand this. But the full sack man completely understands that women are these more intuitive creatures. Now, it's not to say that they are absolutely going to be positively more intuitive all the time. It's just that generally speaking, because women are more emotional, they're going to be more intuitive, because intuitive is it's not necessarily a feeling, but it's a function of the psyche that is requiring you to be in tune with your feminine essence to some degree, because it's pattern recognition. Whereas with men, it's more logic. And when you are truly at ease with existence, and you are truly at ease with yourself, and you are fulfilled in being who you are, no matter what that looks like, no matter how it is, and you just trust the process, you just trust that whatever's going on is, well, whatever's going on. And you're not attached to outcomes, but instead you aim to embody the outcomes, because you trust that with your full sack, anything is possible. And this is going to allow you to settle into yourself and calm down your solar timeline interface, or your nervous system. The Regal Change old timers will understand that the solar timeline interface is your nervous system, because in the Regal timeline theory, this is the way in which we become aware. We are aware because we have been filled with light, and that's that. I mean, it's really nothing to be, because here's the thing, light is awareness. That's the main point there. And women, I've had women in the past tell me that they see my spirit when they look at me. And I've had women who seemingly do whatever I want them to do just by being around them. And I really don't think that if it weren't for the process of which I learned how to integrate myself and my shadow and my animus, my anima, with the woman's animus no longer being projected onto me, because the anima is the totality of feminine experiences inside a male psyche, and the animus is the totality of masculine experiences inside a female psyche. And so you can project your inner woman or your inner man, let's say, onto another person. And only when you are free from projections of anima or animus, projections that is when you'll be able to truly be at ease with existence. Now, you can do a lot of inner work, and I've seen people who are very much so godlike practitioners, right? Now, it is my niche to be a proponent of godlike mastery, but I'm not the master, I'm not the educator. I'm the mastery education. I am right there along with you guys. And yet, it's just that when you listen to me speak about these kinds of things, you're really listening to a version of yourself that is just a little bit more integrated. That's all that it is. And it's the same thing when I, look at Aristotle or Carl Jung or, Soren Kierkegaard or Hegel or whatever, like whoever I'm reading, or if I'm finding insights, or artists like Bob Dylan or the Beatles or Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, like any of these artists or these philosophers or these psychologists, whatever the case is, that are providing insights or guidance to me spiritually, because most of my people that I look up to or respect when it comes to this spiritual domain they're mostly dead, or they've dropped their bodies, let's say, and because they're not really gone. Like no being is ever really gone, especially enlightened beings. I mean, they are always here. They're still working. They're whatever they've done has already been echoed into existence. And I'm not claiming to be enlightened per se, because that's definitely not my prerogative here. As I said, I'm the mastery education, I'm not the master. And so I am playing a part, I'm playing my role. And the more that I embody this role while knowing it's a role, the more that I see that these women are becoming more in tune with me, and they're projecting their animus onto me. And that's exactly what the ecstasy feeling is that when you're giving when a woman projects her animus onto you, I don't think it's necessarily your goal to do this, okay? It's not a goal to have a woman project her animus onto you, but when she does, she is, well, there's two types of ways that this can go down. She can either hate you, like despise your living guts, or she can, just have this infatuating love for you. And if she no longer if you see to her that, or if she sees that you're not going to play into who she thinks you're supposed to be, or projecting her animus onto you to be, then she might start to feel these weird disconnections and such. But this is why women can go cold, in the lick of, I was going to say lickety split is actually the term that I was going to look for, but yeah, lickety split. Women can go cold lickety split, and men can too, of course. But women, it's more renowned, I suppose you could say, for women to go cold like this. And yet I find myself, the more I integrate my anima, the more I kind of it's not that I act like a woman, it's just more like I'm capable of what women are, more capable of than men, generally speaking. I can be very cutthroat in my attention that I give to people, but I can also be very nurturing and open and receptive, and balance that emptiness and self-love within myself really, really simply and practically. So it's really, a combination of a lot of things, but this is again why I'm not particularly keen on perceiving myself to have a personality anymore. And in shamanism, they actually have the technique of ecstasy, which they view enlightenment, you could say, as the technique of ecstasy. Now the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, they viewed this technique of ancient ecstasy and, the technique and the art of ecstasy to be what they called ataraxia. And so ataraxia is this, there's a butterfly over there. There's this ataraxia, which is very symbolic considering the thing we're talking about. You're about to burst forth like a butterfly. But anyway, this ataraxia is essentially robust equanimity, is what it translates to. And robust equanimity is essentially, serendipity on steroids. You could think of it like, but it's like natural steroids. It's the kind of natural proclivity that we all have to live the truth and let die what is false, but fully embodied. Because when you're fully living the truth, at least to the degree in which you trust that you are, there's something that is very magical that happens, in which you see yourself. Now, I don't know what kind of bug that is. Wow, we've had all kinds of interesting bugs the last few videos. Going out and about. But anyway, ataraxia is essentially where robust equanimity is a pertinent part of your own life in which you are simply a juxtaposition unto yourself. Now, for those that don't know what a juxtaposition is, essentially it's like a dichotomy, or it's like a thing that is kind of like a paradox. And so it could be a contradiction as well, or at least a seemingly contradiction. And when you are embodying the full sack philosophy of no philosophy, you're going to be kind of an enigma to women. And this is why they're going to feel this ecstasy around you, because women like that mystery. I mean, we all do, right? Like, that's one of the reasons why men like these, I don't really like to call them this, but baddies. You know, they like to have these baddies because, you know, they are addicted to the pain that they feel from these types of women. And a lot of women are addicted to the pain that they feel from bad boys, but they get the same type of stimulus with the godly bad boy as the bad boy, but it's a much healthier version. It's a spontaneous version, rather than the bad boy just kind of using them. The woman with the godly bad boy with the full sack, or the regal alchemist with the full sack, however you want to look at yourself or define yourself, I suppose. When the woman is with you with a full sack, and you're embodying the no sack philosophy, or the full sack philosophy to no philosophy, the no sack philosophy. Don't do that. If you're a man, don't do the no sack philosophy. Don't get, snip snip. That's interesting that came up, considering, very interesting. But anyway, yeah, I mean, don't even worry about that, because the thing is like, I think vasectomies are mutilation to some degree. I don't think that it's necessary for us to be doing vasectomies. You can do what you want, but me, myself, when I think about getting a vasectomy, I think about that's self-mutilation, essentially, because you're denying yourself what, you're made with and you're made for. And it's kind of like women getting their tubes tied, or being on birth control. Women on birth control, it's like, I just thought about this. I've never been around women who are on birth control since I've embodied the full sack who were attracted to me. All of the women that have been attracted to me, and a lot of them were very reasonably good-looking women. I'm just, I'm not flexing here. I'm just saying that that's what it is. Because I don't consider myself to be like Brad Pitt or anything, but I know that I'm a reasonably attractive male who simply has presence, because I know women care more about presence than they do anything else. And everything else is just a bonus, right? And so I've just kind of realized that many of the women, in fact, I cannot think of one in the last 4 or 5 years that have been attracted to me who have been on birth control. I really don't think any of them have been on birth control. I can't think of one. So that's very interesting as a data point in of itself. But yeah, it just goes to show that, you attract really what you are. You don't really attract who you believe you are. You attract what you are. And this is why the narrative structures that you tell yourself are going to be so important. Like, if you wake up today, like I have an initiate in my Godlike Mastery offer that said today, oh, I'm not really feeling that focused today. How do I get more focused? And I said, well, keep the commitments to yourself. Focus on keeping the commitments to yourself. Because the thing is, and I didn't say much after that, but the reason being is because if you tell yourself, oh, I'm not focused today, oh, I'm not focused today, well, then that's what's going to happen. But if you say, oh, I'm just going to, focus on doing what I am committing to doing, well, then the want to focus just goes out the door, right? Like, you don't even want to focus anymore. You're just focused on just being the thing that you need to do. You're no longer focused on wanting to focus. Like, I think that's what a lot of, people, this is why we had the soul of existence shaped hole, the God shaped hole in our society, is because people want the soul of existence, but they don't actually want the soul of existence. So this is one of the reasons why women will feel this type of ecstasy around you as well when you are truly present and you have that embodiment of the full sack philosophy of no philosophy, because you've integrated yourself and women see themselves in you. Men will see themselves in you too, but it's a matter of how integrated you are to the degree in which they'll be sharing in that ecstasy with you. But with all that being said, I trust that those that have eyes to see and ears to hear were ready for this message and received it. And I do now have 2 spots for June. Now I have 2 spots for June for the Godlike Mastery offer. Otherwise, join the Regal Academy to be more involved with a group. We're actually making some music right now together. We're doing this collaboration. We're kind of just winging it. The way that I see this is a digital sandbox. So we're just going out and it's kind of nice, we're all just kind of coming together and brainstorming and just being. It's kind of like music class, but the fun kind. It's not like music theory. Holy moly. I took a music theory class in college. That was one of the hardest classes I've ever took, because it was just, it was insane. And I still can't read music. So I just be with music, right? Like, because I play guitar, a little bit of harmonica, and I sing a little bit. And oh my gosh, like, I just, show me what the chords sound like and how to do the chords, and that's all I need to know. I don't need to know all of the music theory of whatever. Like, I don't need to know the formula. F the formula, man. F the formula. I just want to be my melody, bro. Brodette. I don't know where Brodette came from. That's super crazy. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Peace. Until next time.